Hi, and welcome back to Roaming with Restless Women. Today I'm excited. I have a person on this podcast who can help you write a book. So this is Katherine Pickett. She's the owner of POP. Is it POP or Pop?
Pop. Yeah,
Pop.
pop.
Okay, Pop Editorial Services, where she offers coaching and editing services to authors and publishers across the country. She's the author of the award-winning guide, Perfect Bound: How to Navigate the Book Publishing Process Like a Pro. And she also is a novelist and has written Deborah Lee Won't Break. Her creative works have appeared in Lowesoft Chronicle, Voice of Eve, Defunct Magazine, and Grand Dame Literary. Her industry articles have appeared on Publishing Perspectives, JaneFriedman.com, Writer Beware, IBPA Independent, and elsewhere. She lives in Silver Spring, Maryland, with her handsome and strong husband, Chris, and their two awe-inspiring daughters. So we'll talk a little bit about those girls too. Let's get started. Welcome, Katherine. I appreciate having you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So did you start out in the book writing business, or what was your early career like?
So I started out as an editor. I got an internship out of college and started working for a company called NTC Contemporary, which did trade books. And those are the kinds of books that you find at a bookstore. And it was nonfiction. They focused on sports and self-help, a lot of career guides, those kinds of
Hmm.
things. And I worked in that with them for about 5 years. They were bought by McGraw-Hill in that time and kind of transformed their catalog. And then we dropped out of some areas like no more quilting, no more gardening books. Those are very
Okay.
expensive. Started focusing more on business books and that kind of thing. So I really understand how business books and self-help books work as I've got a lot of experience with those. Um, and I did that for 5 years and then moved on to a medical textbook publisher that was closer to my family. And after a couple of years there, um, and this was working in-house as a production editor, so I'd take the projects from manuscript to the final project.
Wow.
And after a couple of years with the medical textbook publisher, I decided I wanted to start my own business. Um, yeah, so there are a few reasons for that.
Uh-huh.
The the publishing houses quality isn't always their number one priority, unfortunately.
Oh.
They're trying to make money, so there's kind of a little bit of more focus on getting the books out and get them out on time. And I knew that if I started my own company, I could make quality my number one priority and I could work the way I wanted to work and deliver the kind of quality I wanted to deliver. So I've been doing that for 26 years or something. I've been an editor for 26 years and self-employed since 2006, so I guess 19 years.
Wow. That was a big step, and it was fairly early in your career.
Yeah, it was. It was. I was lucky because I had role models who showed me how to do it. My friend's mother was a freelance editor herself, and she taught me some of the tricks of the trade, how to handle the projects, and just kind of gave me a sense of this is possible, like showed me the way. And then I also have two sisters who are also self-employed. So
Wow.
I knew that entrepreneurship is possible for women and we can do it and succeed. So it's very, yeah, role models have been very influential in my life.
It sounds like it. And you said your sisters are entrepreneurs as well?
Yes, so I actually have six sisters and a brother. We're a very
Oh
big
my
family.
goodness, a big family. Wow. Okay.
Yes. Yes, but two of them are also self-employed. One owns a lighting company and the other is a Pilates instructor, and both very, very successful ladies. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Six sisters, holy cow. And that poor guy, your brother.
Oh,
Uh,
everybody always says that. He gets babied.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. So, what was the most challenging thing that you experienced when you decided to go into business on your own?
Okay, so taking that leap was challenging. And I could definitely see not doing it. Like I may have chickened out, is what I mean to say. But I had the most challenging thing, besides the guts, it was learning to say no to projects
Oh,
and to not just keep taking. Um, the first 6 months of my business, I had so much work. I was working 12 hours a day,
oh
and
goodness.
it was just way too much. I mean, it was something that I feel now in hindsight, I'm glad I did it. I was solvent after 6 months, and that's, pretty unusual for a business. Um, but it what took a toll. And after that, I thought, I'm not doing that again. That's
Yeah.
not healthy. I can't, you know, I vividly recall telling a friend, I'm taking a half day today. And then I worked 6 hours anyway, you know.
Oh,
So,
well,
but after that, yeah,
it makes sense though.
once you get right.
Yeah,
Right.
it makes
Because
sense if
you
you're
just
if
don't want to turn anybody down.
well, and if your focus, as
Right.
you said,
Yeah.
was more on quality, that defeats the purpose, right? If you have too much on your plate, you can't give it the attention that it deserves.
Exactly.
What a great learning that you had in the first 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. It really was very helpful. And after that, you start to learn like, well, maybe it's time I raise my rates. If I'm in this
Yeah.
much demand, I could probably charge a little more, and
Yep.
start going that way to control the flow. So,
So tell me about some of
yeah.
the most satisfying um, clients that you've worked with. What have been like some of the most thrilling projects you've had?
So I would say, so being able to work one-on-one with an author is really, really rewarding. Um, I've started doing writing coaching. I guess three or 4 years ago, 3 years ago
Hmm.
now, and that has been very rewarding. Whenever I can do that one-on-one and help the author see that project from beginning to end and really like grow as a writer and as someone taking on a new challenge. I find that the most invigorating. Most recently, I had a project with a couple of folks who were both in their 90s, and um, yes, the husband, the writer, was 95, and his wife was a few years younger. And um, when he started to feel he stopped being up to some of the challenges of writing and getting the book
Hmm.
published, and she stepped in. And it wasn't
Oh.
necessarily her project, but she took it on, and we worked together to finish the project and to go through the whole process of publishing it to Amazon and all of those challenges, the technical difficulties, the emotional part of it. It was so rewarding to then see her holding the book and just know that stepped out of her comfort zone to do
Yeah.
some things to get this book out into the world. And she, helped her husband to achieve his goal. It was so amazing. And they were also just lovely people that you would want to know in your life. So that kind
Oh.
of emotional connection is so wonderful. And just, whenever I can see that project from beginning to end, it's so rewarding to see them succeed at what they've been trying to do.
And was it a memoir?
Actually, this was a collection of it was a collection of stories. It was fiction, some memoir, and then poems as well. Um,
Oh,
and
wow.
they had, yeah, and they ended up doing the whole process with me. I don't normally do cover design and interior layout except for my own books. Um, but they wanted me to do that as well. I think they found somebody they trusted, and they said, well, let's just see what you can do. And so we really worked together for the entire process to get it out, and it was wonderful. And we were both just so happy to have it out, and they have that now, and it's something they can share with their families and share with their friends as well.
Oh,
So.
that's beautiful. Oh, wow. So when did you decide to do your own book?
So the nonfiction book, you and I were talking before the show about when do you get enough time together to actually write a book.
Yeah.
And that in for the first edition of Perfect Bound, there was a lull in my schedule in December and January of 2012 into 2013. And I thought, I've been saying I might write that book. It's based on some workshops, so I'd done a lot of the pre-writing stuff already
Mm.
and just needed that chunk of time. And I got it. The universe pushed some projects out of my way, and I wrote it. I was 7 months pregnant when I started the project. And so I was absolutely dedicated to getting it done before I gave birth because I knew everything would change after that.
Mm.
So I worked just as hard as I could to get a first draft out. And then after that, revisions took another, 12 months or something.
Wow.
I know my daughter was 16 months by the time we had the book launch. Um, but there was that time pressure to get it out, and so that's how that book came about. And then with the novel, it was very different situation. Children, I had two kids by then. They were older. They had become a little bit more self-sufficient, no more infants, and not even like I didn't have to help them get dressed in the morning anymore.
Yeah.
So that makes things much, much easier. Um, and that was the novel Deborah Lee Won't Break. And I started that in 2022. And it mostly came out of just wanting to have a project and wanting to to fill a gap in the fiction market where we don't see a lot of main characters with chronic health problems. And so I wanted to
Mm.
write, yes, I wanted to write a book with someone with a chronic health issue. I did some research and settled on multiple sclerosis, which was something that I knew about enough to have a foothold, but not so much that I would be like, oh, that's boring. It was something that I was very interested
Yeah.
in because I only knew a little bit. And so that's kind of the genesis of that book. Um, yeah, and happy to tell you more about the novel, of course. It was
Well, I want to know what prompted you. I mean, was it a person in your life that you saw that was struggling with a chronic illness, or what was it that pointed you toward that genre, if you will, or that lack?
yeah. So, well, I I've lived with epilepsy for
Okay.
25 years. It's always been very well controlled. It's not like I know some people have
Hmm.
I don't want to take on something that I don't, it hasn't been a huge burden for me, but it has been there for me. I've carried it with me. I think more was my father had Parkinson's disease, and
Oh,
my sisters and I and brother, we all cared for him from the time I was about 12 until he passed when I was 23. So I had seen that struggle and understood all of that. And so then, anytime I'd meet somebody who had a chronic illness, I kind of already had an understanding of what they were going through and all of that. Um, and then honestly, part of it too was spending time on social media and starting to follow people and to see what they're going through every day and to understand a little bit more about what people with chronic illness are dealing with every day. The stigma that goes with it, people calling them lazy because they don't understand what's happening in their lives. Um, and those stories, those personal stories, they touched me, and I wanted to be able to share that as well. So,
oh, it sounds like a wonderful novel.
great.
I'm going to have to pick that up.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's been out. It published in May of 2025, and we've got a print and an ebook, and the audiobook is in the works. So I'm super excited about that as well.
Oh, that's terrific. All right, so let's say that I want to write a book and I have too many ideas. Like it could go eight different ways. How do you help authors hone in on the real message that they want to say to the world?
Yeah, that's such a great question, and yes, this is so good. Such a good question. What I always recommend is to start with a mind map. And you may have heard of this if you've done
Yeah.
any writing. Yeah, where you start with your main idea in the middle and then you draw spokes off of it. And the little topics that come off of it, that's going to help you to um, to visualize what you want in your book. And there's going to be some things that you're drawn more to or less to, and you want to just like focus on the ones that you feel more passionate about. What are the ones that really spur your interest and get you thinking? That works especially well for nonfiction. And, if you're a business person who's thinking about writing a book that's going to support your business, I would absolutely start with that. Think about that, and that will help you build out a table of contents, and then you can start thinking about this as a real book. Like, oh, I know what chapter 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are going to be. And so that can really help you to get the ball rolling. And once you get that momentum going, I think it can be much easier to see the project through. Once you kind
Mm.
of can picture it in your head, this is going to be a real book, then you're going to be more committed to that project and you will see it to fruition.
Do you have people come to you with imposter syndrome? So they think they
Oh,
want to write a book and they're like, but this has been done before. What
right.
do I have to contribute? This is like, good Lord, the topic of leadership. Could we have any more books on leadership, right? How do you help people get to the specific of what's different or unique about what they want to bring to the table?
Yeah, I absolutely do come across that. I know imposter syndrome is tough for all of us. Um, because we just sometimes have that voice telling us that what we're saying is not important or is not new, it's not important enough. And so mostly I just counsel people that if you find it important, if it's something that is really driving you to write it, then you should write it. There is probably going to be somebody out there who wants to hear that message from you. Um, so as far as like when you are when we first meet, we will talk about your goals. And like I always go through like try to list three goals that you would like to get out of um, the publishing process or the process of working with a coach. And from that, you can talk about um, your goals with the project, and you can build a mission statement. So
Yeah.
if you write a mission statement for your project, many people write mission statements for their businesses, but
Hmm.
you can have a specific one for your writing career or your even just per your book for that just one book. And you write out really, why am I doing this? And nail down the emotional reason and the business reason that you are taking on this project. And that can just give you a lot of focus. And again, publishing's a long road. It can be very challenging. And so having that mission statement in writing for you to refer back to can help you very much because there will be rejections along the way. There will be hard times when things aren't working and you just don't know if what you're doing matters and what you're doing worthwhile. And that having that piece to refer back to can be so helpful to keep you going, keep you grounded, keep you focused on your ultimate goal.
What is the percentage of nonfiction versus fiction that you work with?
Let's see. At this point, it's probably about 60-40 nonfiction.
Okay.
I yeah, so I work with a lot of people who are writing their memoirs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of self-help as well, and then business books, coaches who the leadership books. And
Hmm.
I have to say, people keep coming up with new and different ways to think about leadership, to think
Mm.
about how to get that idea across. And so for as many leadership books as I have edited, there are a number of them, but this is interesting. New people come, oh, wow, yeah, I never really quite thought of it that way.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very exciting um, to see that.
What kinds of fiction, what kind of genre is hot right now in fiction?
Oh goodness. What's hot? I would say the most talked about one would be romantasy, which is like romance fantasy. Okay. And I love this story because it started out like people were writing romance fantasy or romantasy for several years and could not get it published by the traditional publishers. And they started self-publishing it. And it sold like crazy
Yeah.
because, of course, you're combining two of the most popular genres. Why wouldn't there be a market for that? And so now you will see agents are asking, oh yes, I'm definitely interested in romantasy. My number one topic, you know, of course, now that they've seen, it's been proven by the self-publishing field that there is a market for this. And so now they want their piece of that. So if you're interested in romance or fantasy, or you want to combine them, there will definitely be a market for those genres.
It's funny because I remember very distinctly when I was real little, 7, 8 years old, just started to, really read good stuff. I was reading early, but really reading good stuff. My aunt and uncle had a volume of fairy tales and fantasy kind of books. I loved them so much. I love them so. And then obviously fantasy came in, into favor early on in my adult life. And I've always enjoyed just a really good, unreal story. You know,
Yes,
um,
yes.
I'm not into historical fiction so much because there's nothing new about it. There's nothing interesting to me about it. I like stuff that doesn't happen in real life.
Right. Yeah, something that
You
really
know?
transports you to a new world. Yeah.
Right, right. So that's always been something, and that's why I went into English literature as a field. I had hoped to be a professor, an English professor, and then I got a fellowship for my PhD and went and I thought to myself, I just can't do macaroni and cheese for another 5 years. You know, I really just need to go and make
Right.
money. So,
Yep.
but I did teach in community college, and that was a lot of fun. And have done editing, in my profession, being that it's change management, it's a lot of communications and a lot of structuring messaging that hopefully hits some emotion as well as the actual business part, because people will not adopt change unless you hit their emotion, unless you make it worthwhile for them. Um, and that's the part that a lot of leaders don't understand because they are very afraid to deal with emotion. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's changing, but not very much. In my 30 years of doing this, I still find it very interesting that people don't be able to or can't seem to be able to do a decent performance review. I mean, come
Oh my goodness. No,
on.
nope, that continues to be a challenge. Emotion
Oh,
in the office is definitely an issue. Like they want to pretend it doesn't happen, but I know I cried at least twice when I worked in the office.
oh
So,
man, I'm a big emotional person, so I have to really be careful and cut it off.
yeah.
Unfortunately, hopefully that's a little different today, but not very much. Okay, so we're almost at time, so let me share that at the end of every episode, I ask three questions, and I want to get your answers to those three questions. So if you could close your eyes
Okay.
and describe to me what you see in your mind's eye when I say wise woman.
Hmm. Oh goodness. Well, my honest first image is an older woman, silver hair, nice crop bob, looking fashionable and ready to take on the world. That's what I see.
That's beautiful. Okay, so you can open your eyes, and here's my next question. What makes you restless in a good way?
I would say in a good way. I get restless in a bad way so often, but
Yeah,
restless in a good way, it's that the drive to write, the drive to see a project all the way through, to start something new. I'm so fortunate to have a husband who supports every wild dream that I ever come up with. And so whenever I can take on a new challenge, um, and like exercise and cycling and all of that, I love it. Long distance cycling in particular, all of those things really get my juices going, so that I'm ready to go out there and tackle the new challenge.
that's beautiful. I think a lot of people think restless is negative. But you can turn restlessness into positive action if you stop and think about it. Why am I feeling itchy in my skin? That means I need a new chapter. I need a new something. I
Mhm.
need something to challenge me. And people need to listen to that because that's how you continue to grow and live. Anyway, all right. And my final question, where do you like to roam?
Yeah. Where do I like to roam? I love to roam on the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
I have every year, actually, my birthday is in December, and every year my family goes to the Appalachian Trail about an hour west of where we are in Maryland and goes for a hike.
Oh,
And we've done the Appalachian Trail in I think three states so far, and we might just have to start hopping up a little bit further north, a little farther south, because it's so beautiful and so fun to be out there in the
mm,
nature and exercising, using our bodies. I love it.
absolutely. I grew up in Charlotte, right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And so we would go to the mountains. It was an hour and a half away. We would go up for a day on a Sunday and just wander around and take a trail here or, go to Chimney Rock and look at the little shops. It was so much fun. So I get it with the Appalachians. They're just beautiful. Thank you. Oh, thanks for that memory. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Oh, it's so beautiful.
where can people reach you to either get your services or to buy your books? Let me put that in my show notes.
Yeah. So, for my fiction, I have KatherinePickettAuthor.com. That's the best
Okay.
place to go find all about the current book and the ones that's in the works. And everything fiction is over there. And for nonfiction or editorial services, you'll find me at popediting.net. And I've got my nonfiction books for sale there, and you can learn about my services, read what other people have said about working with me, and everything you could possibly want to know about me through on that website as well.
Excellent. Well, folks, I will have those links in the show notes so you can go out and check them out. And thank you, Catherine, for being on the episode with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure to meet you and speak with you today.
Well, great. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time. Julie Noonan here. Thank you so much for listening to Roaming with Restless Women. If you're a successful senior woman leader who would like to be on this program, please visit podcast.intuitivewisdomcoach.com. If you enjoyed this interview, please share this episode on social media and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Your thumbs ups and reviews go a long way.